Welcome back to Elevate with Anthony and Steve, the podcast that tries to educate you, motivate you, and facilitate a lot of what you know and need to know about being a great leader. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Anth. I'm excited for today's topic. I think it's going to be a kind of a fun way of presenting it, but at the same time, these are serious issues. So I hope people will get some good advice out of what we're going to say today.
I think it's a great show. It's a great way of looking at it, and we're going to present it in a no nonsense manner and come right at you and give you some more information to help you in your career, in your personal relationships, in your, if it's coaching career, anything to do with stepping up and how to be a leader and some of the traits that not only you need to have, but today we're going to look at some traits that you don't want to have. Right, Steve?
Right. Yeah, some traits that are not good.
No.
And if you want to fail at leadership, these would be the traits that you would have. So you don't want to have these traits. But as we go through them, I want you to think of the 180 to these traits, and because that's the where you want to be. And you'll see as we go through them. So we've got 5 of them to go through, and we've kind of put them in order, but really they're all important. And Anth and I discussed which ones we thought were the top 5, and we did.
That wasn't an easy job. That took a while.
Yeah, because actually there's a few more that we'd like to add to the list, but you can't make it too long.
Yeah, this could have been a very long. This could have been a very long podcast. We had
right.
We had to cut out a lot of bad qualities. That again, it was tough, very tough.
Yeah, and hopefully you're going to pick something up from this, and hopefully maybe even be surprised at maybe one of the top 5 that we picked. So
exactly, and Steve, the thing about this, what we're going to share today, a lot of people are walking around and don't even know they share these qualities. So that's the thing about
that.
What?
Yeah,
they don't
even know they fit in one of these.
And they have no idea, how these qualities, and again, they've acquired them somewhere along the line. And so, yeah, that's what it'll be a good discussion. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, hopefully we've sold the audience on what we're going to talk about here today. So we're gonna split these up. Anthony, you want to take that number 5? We'll start with that one.
Sure. Number 5 is a very important one, and this one we call all about me. And it's one of those things where some of these leaders think that when things are going well, it's because of them. When things aren't going well, who's the first person they want to jump on or get or blame? Employees, exactly. And this, this could, again, cross the lines of being in your marriage. You have problems in your marriage and you don't see them. But again, there's one common denominator. It could be you. It could be, I talked about coaching. When the team plays well, you're a genius. When they lose, hey, these guys got to up their game. And this all about me attitude resonates all over in all different aspects of your life. It's not about servant leadership. It's not about showing people or taking the lead. It's not about taking responsibility for your actions. It's just about thinking that you know it all. And, there's a saying that goes, hey, I forgot more than you'll ever know. And it really is harmful to an organization. And it really does not bode very well if you want to be a great leader.
Right. And the most important thing on this one to me is when you get into management, when you get into leadership, and this is the key to this one right here, your success largely depends on you working through your employees, you working through other people to get that success. It's not just about your efforts. And so thinking that you know it all and um, not recognizing your employees, not getting the best out of them, you are not going to do the best. This is a sure way to failure right here because your employees are your way to success. That's how you get success. That's how you bring the resources together. That's how you get everybody working as a team. A team produces much more than any individual could produce.
Steve,
So that's why this one is so
it
important.
is important. It can be as simple as saying thank you. It can be as simple as recognizing an employee for
And,
going.
and that word thank you is so powerful and it's so free. And I encourage everyone, use that as much as you can. I would say thank you to folks every chance I got. Sometimes I'd look for a way to say thank you to them, just to thank them for everything they're doing. That thank you just tells them that they're valued, they're important, you appreciate their work. It tells them that you see their work, you see what they're doing, you acknowledge it. It goes, it does so many things as far as morale and making employees feel good, making employees stay, making them do better work. And that word is free to use. Use that word as much as possible. That you will never get in trouble using the word thank
There
you
isn't there
to
a chapter?
employees.
Is a spoiler alert? First spoiler alert. There's a chapter in the book, and your book is
There
Your
is.
Finest Hour Is Now, written by yours truly, that talks about that. And Steve, sometimes it's the simple things that make the biggest difference, right?
Exactly. It's called building a good bank account with others
That's what it
and
was.
a
Yes.
positive bank account
Mhm.
and that you can draw upon and do great things with. So
One
yes,
of my favorite chapters in the book, by the way, Steve.
it's really there's it's not top secret stuff on leadership, and this is the thing. People have made it so complicated over the years. It's not complicated. It's really get down to basics, things like this. Give gratitude, recognize employees. It's not about you. It's about working through employees to get the most out of
Most
them.
definitely.
So,
Okay, that's the
all
first.
right,
That's the first trait or first habit of the 5 habits of a horrible boss. So that was number
right,
5. Steve,
right.
start us off with number 4.
Okay, number 4 is just as important, and this one is also in my book. And again, all of these get back to results and being successful as a leader. And this one we like to call the wrong touch. And this one is about micromanaging. And again, if you're micromanaging, now let me say this about managing. It's an art. Anth, I talk about in my book about plumbing and I've had some really bad times trying to fix a plumbing. And here's what I learned. And one plumber told me something, and I've never forgotten it. Uh, he said, if you tighten it too much, it's going to leak. If you keep it too loose, it's going to leak. You got to have just the right tightness on it. Okay,
Yeah.
not too tight, not too loose. Same with managing employees. And you got to let them grow. You've got to let employees grow. And they can't do that when you're on them all the time, when you're tightening all the time, when you're telling them every little thing they have to do, treating them like children. They can't grow. You want things to grow. You know what is the sign of a good leader, Anth? Everything around them grows. The employees grow. A lot of my employees got promoted. You know why? Because I let them grow. Don't hold the reins so tight that your employees can't do wonderful things for you. Delegate. Um, learn how to measure for results and not be micromanaging.
So asking for
I've never heard an employee say, "Wow, I've got a great manager that micromanages me every day for down to the minutia."
so
I've
employees
never heard them. Have you ever heard them say
no,
that?
and employees don't call you or email you, Steve, asking you for frequent updates or focusing on some unimportant details, right? Or
Right,
constant monitoring. You're not getting calls, people asking for more help with those.
right. I was amazed as I like reading military books, and I read from admirals to generals to privates to all kinds of things. And what really amazed me about the greatest military leaders, Anth, is when they would give commands, like when Nimitz gave Halsey in the Pacific during World War II a command to go out and find the Japanese fleet. The commands were very vague. It's like Go out in this area, find the enemy, and destroy him. The rest was left up to Halsey how he wanted to do it, and that it was delegating. He trusted him. He's like, I know you're going to do a good job. He gave him the broad outline of what he wanted, and then he let Halsey take it from there and go narrow in and accomplish the mission. And that's what we're talking about here. Give your employees some time, some room, so they can do the best job for you. Because I'll tell you what I see every time I see a micromanager, Ant. They're burned out, they're stressed out, right? Their employees don't like them because they're doing the job of 5, 6, 7 people, and that you're not going to last long in that environment.
Steve,
And
give
it's a
them some
very negative
space.
environment you
Give
create.
them some space and let them do what they do best.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was number
Number
4.
4. So now we're at number 3 of the 5 habits or 5 traits of a horrible boss. And I love watching movies, and there's a great quote. And Steve, I'm gonna see if you can guess this movie. What I do, I have a very particular set of skills that I've acquired over a very long period of time. These skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. Where's that from, Steve? Do you remember?
You got me on that
Well, it's
one.
from Taken. Remember, was his name Brian Mills? His daughter got taken, and he's talking to the uh, kidnapper over the phone.
Yeah.
It's what's great about that, a particular set of skills, and this gets me to number 3, living in one of the famous rivers in the world, living in denial, and we all have lived there at one point or
Yes.
another. It's a mindset of inflating our skills, you know,
Right.
neglecting self-assessment. And the first chapter of your book talks about it, taking a selfie, right? Analyzing who
R-
you are, how people perceive you, what you really look like, and how your actions and your reactions, how they relate to people that call you, supervisor or manager. And it's so important. You can either hinder somebody's growth, or you can help them grow. You can help empower them. You can help motivate them, facilitate them, mentor them to become the leaders of tomorrow that's going to take this
Right.
company forward. And that's so important, isn't it, Steve?
Absolutely. Yes. And everybody has flaws. Everybody. And the way you handle your flaws is you identify them, accurate self-assessment,
Yes.
accurate. You identify your flaws and then you deal with them. Everybody's human. You can't name me a CEO that doesn't have flaws. I don't care what corporation, I don't
And
care how high up they are, I don't care how much money they make.
Steve, the best
But
CEOs understand that they do have flaws and they have things they need to work on. And they're
exactly.
always they're always trying to learn something. They never
Right.
feel that they've arrived. They're
Right.
and they're
So
and
so let me ask the question of our viewers. What's something that you need to work on? What's something that you're not seeing in yourself, whether that's your skills, whether that's your personality that's holding you back? And if you just do a little bit of work in that area, you could go to much greater heights. What's holding you back?
Steve,
And this is a good question to ask because you see people all the time in the workplace and they've been around for years and they don't get anywhere and they complain and they say this and that, but you say to yourself, well, you're missing something here. You have an obvious flaw that you haven't fixed and it's holding you back. So don't do this to yourself. Find out what it is, identify things, and work on yourself. We love fixing others, Anth, right? I mean, I can point out your flaws really quick, right?
hey,
You
that's
want me to
not too
start
that's
naming
not too
them?
hard to
Probably don't
do,
have
Steve.
time. But when it comes to me, man, it's harder for me to point out my own flaws. I don't like doing that, but it's really a healthy thing to do to look inward a little bit.
Steve, you say something in your book. They don't have to like you, but they have to respect you.
Right.
And that is so important. And it's all about taking that selfie, realizing how
Ex-
other people perceive you, and always wanting to learn, and always trying to get yourself, not only pick yourself or pick yourself off the mat, it's a lot of times picking your employees off the mat. And that's a skill that takes time to learn as you start to understand people and become a better listener. But when you do, the results are far more than you'll ever believe.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was number three. That was number three of the five habits of a horrible boss.
All
Steve,
right,
you got
we're
number
getting down
two,
here to
right?
the top two that we rank the top two, and they're probably not. One of them's probably going to be a little surprising. The other one's probably not. But this one is another thing that we've talked about in other videos, but it does make the top five because if you're living in this world, um, you're not going to have success. And this, what we call number two, is a world without numbers. And what this means is that if you're in management, if you're in leadership, and you're living in a world without numbers, a world without measurements, a world without gauges, a world without performance metrics, you are going to fail, and you're going to fail really bad.
You're gonna do what?
Um,
You're gonna do what, Steve? Say that again.
you're going to fail very hard in leadership if you don't live in a world with numbers. Management, by definition, in leadership is responsibility, and that means performance, and that means numbers. And you need to be looking at the numbers. You need to be moving the numbers in the right direction, whatever those numbers are: quality, quantity, timeliness.
Hey, Steve, who's watching those numbers? Nobody, right?
Everybody, everybody's watching the numbers.
Everybody's. Hey, Steve,
And
they might
everybody
tell you they're
above you
not
is
watching the
watching your
numbers.
numbers. Right. Everybody above you is watching the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And so you should never be surprised by any number someone else brings up because you've already looked at that number. And when you look at numbers and you keep your eyes focused on numbers and performance, you're going to keep adjusting. You're going to keep moving forward. You're going to keep making better decisions to move that number forward. And everybody's going to like you when you focus on numbers. Now, I'm not saying you put numbers all over people and, one over the other. There's a balance in everything, right, Anth? I mean, life is a balance. You don't want to run your employees down just to, strive for numbers, 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 and you can run them to death. But I'm saying there needs to be a balance, and your world as a leader is full of numbers,
And
and just accept
horrible
it and
bosses,
thrive with it.
horrible bosses forget about the numbers. Bad
Right.
leaders
And they
forget about the
fail, and
numbers.
they
They get
fail
caught
every
up
time.
in a lot of other different things, the micromanaging, right? The all about me, living in denial, but they forget about what they were brought on to motivate people, motivate a team to produce what? Results. And results
Right.
are numbers. So
Yes.
don't
And
if you get one thing today or throughout the last four parts, last series that we had, if you want to be a horrible boss, if you want to be a bad leader, don't forget about the numbers, and you'll be right on track, huh, Steve?
absolutely. Final thought on that, and share the numbers with your employees. I mean, they're not top
Oh, I
secret.
didn't think about that.
Work with your employees. I always shared the number with my employees. That when I would have quarterly meetings, I would share the numbers, where we're at, how our quality was looking, how our quantity was looking. Share the numbers with them. Don't keep secrets. You want them to perform better. Let them know where you're at. I think it's just a good thing to do.
Okay. All right. Well, that was number two. We called that a real without numbers on the five habits of a horrible boss. So
Now we're
far,
getting down to number one,
number
right, Anth?
one. I'm going to
This
count
should not
down.
surprise anybody,
Yeah, this
but I'll
this
let Anth
one,
talk it.
Steve. This has to be the granddaddy of them all, right?
It is. It is.
Without a doubt,
It comes up every time. Every time you look up leadership and management, you're going to see
you're
this
going to
one.
see this one. And
Right.
again, I told you I like movies, and one of my favorite lines from one of my most favorite movies, I think his name was Boss Godfrey, and he was talking to Cool Hand Luke. That's where it's from. And what he
Hmm.
told Luke is, Luke, what we have here is a failure to communicate. And that's what, if you have that, a failure to communicate, again,
Yeah,
you're on a great path to being a horrible boss.
that's right.
Right, Steve? It's
Communication is a
it's the
big
key.
part.
And
It's a
when you
big
do,
part of leadership. And I can't, I am just baffled at how many people I meet that have been through so much leadership training, and communication is always covered. And I'm just baffled that they are such poor communicators. It's just, I just shake my head. It's like, This is leadership 101,
And and
communication.
Steve, you know what? In this day and age, it's it used to be there was just the phone call, right?
Right.
Now you've got texting, right? You've
Yes.
got emails, still
Right.
have phone calls. And then again, there's a great chapter in your book about when you need to meet with somebody face to face. So there's a lot of different methods for communicating with your employees and how to do that and where to do that. And
Right.
again, if you want to be a horrible boss, just use one method and tell the employees that's how you're going to communicate. It
Exactly. And this I saw a lot,
did you
especially
really?
with
I'll
younger
bet.
folks, Anth.
I'll bet you did, Steve.
And they always want to send an email or a text, and they don't want to talk face to face. But as a leader, you have to use all the communication methods. And I've found that talking face to face with people is still one of the most effective ways to motivate people, to hear ideas, to find out issues and problems. I mean, it's invaluable when you talk to people face to face. You can see them, you can see their emotions, and you can really question them on things. Where a lot of times, Anthony, especially in emails, you can't get the sense of what how somebody's really communicating. Sometimes I would take an email and I would think this person's being a real jerk. And in fact, I just read the email wrong, right? I mean, it happens.
Sometimes, Steve,
But
even a text, the way it's worded, can come
right,
across meaning something completely different than what the sender actually intended. And that may be a
right,
situation where you pick the phone up and say, "Hey, just want to let you know, I didn't mean that may have come across wrong, but I'm not upset, and it's okay." Right? Here's what I was trying to tell you.
right.
So
And so, yeah, so learn to communicate and learn to you know what the biggest thing about communication is? And here's what people miss, Anth. This is what people miss all the time. Everybody knows how to talk. Everybody knows how to send a text message. What people got to really focus on communication is this right here. Listening. Listening is half of the battle in communication. Sometimes you just got to be quiet and listen to what other people are saying. That is what communication is as a leader. Because when I'm listening, I'm picking things up. I'm getting intelligence. I can't tell you how many times I found out something that was going on I didn't know because I listened to someone. I spent a few minutes talking with them. That's part of your communication. And as a leader, you got to be a good communicator, you have to be a good listener. That is half of the battle right there. So when
amen,
you look at
amen,
yourself,
brother.
yeah, when you look at yourself, ask yourself this question. Am I listening to people when they come in to talk to me? Am I listening to them or am I doing all the talking? When you're doing all the talking, you're not picking up any information. You gotta just shut up once in a while and listen to what people are telling you and try not to judge, but just listen to it so you can really know what they're saying, what they're thinking.
Steve, being a great leader, and as we've gone down this journey, this four-part series, there are so many qualities and traits and habits of successful leaders. So
Yes.
today, we wanted to share with you five, and again, there's a lot more, but what we feel are five very important traits or habits that could make you a horrible leader or a horrible boss. I hope if you take any one of these and focus on them, you're going to be able to pick your leadership game up to the next level. You're going to be able to grow as a leader and you're going to find success down whatever path you take. I hope you found this helpful.
Yeah, and again, take any of these five that would cause you to be a really bad leader and have poor results and just flip them around and you'll find success. Again, leadership is not complicated. There's just basic things you need to do to succeed at it. And I know all these things work. I did them for over 30 years. Anthony, you've did them for over 30 years in your job. We're not we're preaching things that we know work, and we've tried it and we have the experience doing it. So take these ideas, take these thoughts, and you could sum up a lot of leadership books in these five topics right here,
Hmm.
these five topics. So that's all I have to say.
Well, Steve,
Uh,
our leadership podcasts have come to an end. and it's
Yes.
been a lot of fun. And I got to tell you, I've learned a lot along the way, and I'm very confident that our viewers have gained something, one thing or whatever that is, to help them. And now you just have to practice.
Right.
Practice becoming the
Yeah.
leader you doesn't happen overnight, but if you practice some of the qualities and traits we've talked about, you'll get there.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. This is our fourth video. I think in the four videos, we've covered some really important topics that would get anybody well started in leadership or management. So please look at those videos. Please comment on them. Please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button if you like what we're doing here. We really do appreciate you being here, and we're here sharing just good advice with you. Uh, and hopefully will inspire you to go to greater heights wherever you're at and whatever business you're in.
That's what we're here for. And the website is mattioli-solutions.com. And remember, second spoiler alert on the book. The book is Your Finest Hour Is Now. It's available on Amazon, and we'd appreciate you taking a look at the book. It's something you can go back to and review, and it could change the way you look at how or what kind of leader you want to become. So thanks again for being with us. For myself,
Thank you.
Anthony, and
Good talking to you again, Anth.
good talking to
Good
you,
doing this
Steve.
series with you. We got some other good videos coming
We
up.
do.
They may not be right in the management area, but stay tuned because we're already planning some really good things coming up in the near future.
Good things down the road for sure.
All
Good
right.
talking to you, Steve. Until next time, goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for being here. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.